20 amazing hack and slash games. Ghostrunner 2. Slide/sidestep and leap into victory with Ghostrunner 2 from one more level. This slick and highly polished follow-up to the popular original game brings you back once again to the neon-lit cyberpunk future we all came to love the first time around. Set 1 year after the original, we're back once again exploring the last refuge of mankind and the lands that lie around it. A violent AI cult has appeared, and it's up to Jack once again to put things right. There's plenty of gory violence, fast parkour, challenging boss fights, cyber ninja motorcycles, and so much more. If you loved the first game and wanted more, check out Ghostrunner 2.
Able to extrapolate his destination.
How is he so fast?
Killsquad, a 4-player twin-stick top-down game that allows for full hack and/melee builds or bullet-spraying carnage fiends. Killsquad from Novrama is peak arcade fun. Control a cast of colorful and quirky characters as they go on an adventure across 5 planets, causing carnage wherever they go. There are 5 unique heroes to choose, and they all have their own specific abilities, unlockable upgrades, and builds specific to them set across a very large skill tree. Revisit worlds for rich bounties, find newer and stronger equipment or cosmetics, and generally be a violent bounty hunter for the right buyer. Great on your own and even better with friends, Killsquad is a great party game. Try out each hero to find which one works for you. Also check out their upgrade trees as they can drastically change with a few levels sunk into them. Grindstone, coming in hot with big Cartoon Network energy, Grindstone from Bar Games is a gooey, gory, and absolutely anarchic puzzle game that's hysterical and oh so satisfying to solve. You're on an epic adventure to mine Grindstone from Grindstone Mountain, but it's not going to be easy. Standing in your way are hordes of creeps, colorful and alien-looking creatures that dwell deep within the mountain. Use your axe and other unlockables to bash them apart on a 2D puzzle board. There are 250 levels to crawl through and big bosses to batter, so grab your axe and head for those dark, gloomy mountain depths. Wanted Dead, a super stylish hybrid hack and/slash game from Soleil Ltd. Wanted Dead follows an average week for the zombie unit, a group of highly skilled individuals from the Hong Kong police that deal with corporate conspiracies. What follows is an action-packed story following LT, Hannah Stone, as she slices her way through gang members, mercenaries, and more in order to get to the truth. Combat is intense and allows for over 50 unique and very brutal finishing moves. There's plenty of range and melee weapons to wield, and in this cyberpunk setting, it's all fancy future tech. Morbid: The Lords of Ire. We'll never get a Bloodborne 2, but in the meantime, Morbid: The Lords of Ire from Still Running has plenty of Bloodborne vibes, and it's a very good replacement. This gruesome and gory hack and/slash game has you defeating the Gahars, dark lords that have twisted the lands of Ire to their will. In your way are huge and horrible creatures spread across 5 distinct lands that have become rotted and tainted over time. There's a unique sanity system that impacts the world around you but can also make you stronger, and there are plenty of distinct and unique weapons to discover as you roam around these broken lands. Rise of the Ronin, a PS5 exclusive that's rocking some big Neo and Ghost of Tsushima vibes. Rise of the Ronin sets you off on an open-world adventure across 19th century Japan. Foreigners are arriving, and with the introduction of new technology, the samurai are going extinct. The country is in turmoil, disease is rampant, and you'll need to make your own path in this wild and changing landscape. There's tons of customization options available for your Ronin as you explore across the large game map. Combat is pretty deep and very satisfying to pull off, and with a range of period weaponry ranging from swords to staves, and even guns, there are plenty of ways to build your warrior. If you enjoyed Neo and want something bigger but more grounded, check out Rise of the Ronin. Dragon's Dogma 2, a successful follow-up to the original Dragon's Dogma. The sequel is another narrative-driven open-world RPG that follows a new Arisen as they battle with their new role in the growing Dragon Blight Plague. The world is bigger than before, the monsters more varied, and the pawn and party system is back once again, but it's a lot better than it was before. You can stack your group however you like, and with new races, classes, and weapons, the type of damage your team can put out on big ghoulish foes has only grown. Though the story could use some work, the open-world exploration and chaotic moment-to-moment gameplay more than makes up for the occasional bug or janky gameplay moment. If you liked the first Dragon's Dogma and wanted something a bit more smoother and modern, then grab this one. Stellar Blade, a hack n/game made by one dev, and already causing some controversy apparently. Stellar Blade is a solid third-person action game with some great monster design, interesting level layouts, and genuinely enjoyable combat. Carrying big Nier Automata vibes for all the right reasons, Stellar Blade is a game that will surprise you. Set in the far future, humanity's existence hangs in the balance as what's left of the human race has fled to a colony in outer space. Earth has been left behind as it's become filled with monsters, and it's up to Eve to reclaim the planet. Though it sounds very familiar to Nier, you should still give Stellar Blade a chance.
Certainly wouldn't hurt to check it out. That is, if you're feeling inclined toward a little neighborly help.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. A follow-up to the last remake of a classic Final Fantasy game, Rebirth continues the story of Cloud and the gang in a part 2 as they travel across the world. They're hot on the tail of Sephiroth, and it's a journey that will put the very planet at stake. Bursting at the brim with minigames and a combat system that's slick and satisfying to pull off, especially against some of the massive boss monsters, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a sleek and very charming sequel. Your playground is more massive than Midgard, and there's plenty to see and do as you wander around with your team. It's worth playing the first Final Fantasy remake first if you haven't, as you may feel a little lost with the story, as there's been some substantial changes from the original Final Fantasy game.
I'm coming!
If you are enjoying the video so far, then please make sure to hit the like and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notification to see more content. No Rest for the Wicked, an early access game from Moon Studios that's already making quite the name for itself. No Rest for the Wicked is a top-down hack n/game from the team behind Ori and the Blind Forest. Absolutely oozing in style. The art team for this game deserves a commendation as the environments are gorgeous and the enemy designs are well animated and memorable. The year is 841. The king is dead, and the lands are overwhelmed with mutations and abominations brought on by an unholy pestilence that's plaguing the land. You play as a member of a holy warrior order, and it's up to you to defeat this blight at all costs and help restore the kingdom. An epic saga that features precision-based combat, No Rest for the Wicked will certainly guarantee you never get any rest, as you'll want to go back for more time and time again. Unlike other top-down action games where you can just wail on the boss with button spam attacks, here you'll need to be precise, as screwing up a combo or swinging at the wrong time will brutally punish you with pain. Ghost of Tsushima. Defend Tsushima Island from invading Mongols in a slick samurai hack n/game from Sucker Punch. You play as Jin, a wayward Ronin turned assassin who has to balance the honorable way of the samurai with some less than honorable methods of solving the island invasion problem. Combat is often downright cinematic, plus the online multiplayer has a ton of depth, co-op missions, and even long multi-man raids to test your sword swinging skills. If you're in the market for a slick samurai hack n/game, then Ghost of Tsushima comes highly recommended. Taking photos and messing with the in-game filters is encouraged in Ghost of Tsushima, as it's all about making your samurai duels as cinematic as possible. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. A ninjutsu-based change in gear by From Software, Sekiro was a heavily action-orientated game in the vein of Bloodborne, but in feudal Japan. You play as Wolf, a reanimated ninja that's tasked with protecting his young charge called Kuro in a period of violence and brutal uprisings. The gameplay is typical From Soft fashion, but more energetic. Instead of the old sword and board techniques of Dark Souls, Sekiro focused more on parrying, guard breaking, and using acrobatic ninja moves to dive apart your foes. Fantastically stylish in its portrayal of a corrupted land in the east, and filled with some downright gorgeous and gross boss fights, Sekiro is a notable jump in difficulty from its predecessors, but it's worth the time. Hammerwatch 2. Take the cult classic top-down adventure on the road with Hammerwatch 2 from Crackshell. Aid King Roland and the Resistance as you banish the hordes of darkness once and for all. Go solo or bring a party of your friends as you blast and hack your way through huge hordes of monstrous creatures and fantasy monsters. Dive into a boatload of quests that will help the populace of this blighted town and earn great rewards and crucial crafting parts to make better gear. There's a lot to sink your teeth into, and it can get pretty intense, especially during some of the set-piece fights like the one against the dragon. If you want something long haul, then Hammerwatch 2 is perfect. In Gatewalkers, a weathered and weary world awaits in Gatewalkers from A2 Softworks. This Diablo-esque hack and slash is an enjoyable top-down romp into a classic fantasy adventure. Save the world from the bloodthirsty creatures that inhabit it, and survive the worst the realm has to throw at you. The lands you visit are all procedurally generated and the weather can get pretty extreme. Team up with 3 others and take the fight to the multitude of threats beyond the gate. Collect rewards from the guild and explore vast locations filled with plenty of loot and big beasts to best. Elden Ring. An absolute banger by From Software, Elden Ring took what made the previous Souls-like games great and evolved it further. A stranger in a lost land, you play as the Tarnished who must ascend to the throne of the Elden Lord. But that's easier said than done. Standing in your way is a vast, sprawling land filled with monsters, bosses, hidden dungeons, and all sorts of secrets. There are plenty of weapons to find to customize your build, and it can be a massive enjoyable time sink if you let it. By far one of the best games to launch in their entire catalog, Elden Ring is a must-play for hack and slash fans. And is Dogma. Described as a grueling action RPG, Dogma takes a lot of pages out of the Soulsborne approach to development. In that death means a reset back to a previous rest point, there's a lot of combat mechanics to dig into and everything you're fighting against can plant you into the dirt with one good hit and a badly timed dodge. Developed by Overborder Studio, you take control of Corvus, a mysterious and amnesiac warrior who wields the power of disease in a kingdom that's become blighted by a mysterious and mutative pestilence. At will, Corvus can shift into a powerful raven form during battle as he battles corrupted and twisted monsters on his quest to piece together his shattered mind. Bloodborne. A game that needs no introduction, Bloodborne was a shift in gears from Software away from their usual medieval monster fantasy into a realm of eldritch beings and nightmare creatures from beyond the star and below the sea. Combat takes a much faster approach than its predecessors and aggression is encouraged. As you make your way through the twisted lands around Yharnam, the story starts to unveil a sad tale of a town cursed by ancient otherworldly beings held together in a never-ending nightmare. Featuring transformative weapons, massive bosses, hidden endings, and creatures to kill, and some absolutely jaw-dropping vistas and level design, Bloodborne is a must-play for many. The Surge. If you like a cyberpunk Souls-like, then The Surge by Deck 13 is worth checking out. Though its sequel saw some mixed reception, the original still stands up as you battle your way through the ruined remains of Creo, equipped with a surgically attached exoskeleton. It's up to you to make your way out of this battered complex. Standing in your way are giant droids, rogue construction machines, and other cybernetically enhanced individuals who have gone a little loony. Featuring a unique combat and loot retrieval system that involves hacking off individual body parts and armor pieces, there's a surprising amount of complexity in The Surge. If you enjoy smashing apart big industrial robots, then The Surge has a lot of cyborg combat catharsis. Final Fantasy XVI. The latest in a long line of highly successful games, Final Fantasy XVI took things in a new and more action-packed direction. Turn-based combat is gone completely and instead, you're zipping around performing Devil May Cry-style combos in challenging hunts and boss fights that can dramatically escalate in scale at times. The set pieces are fantastic and the soundtrack takes a tour de force of old classics and more modern Final Fantasy games throughout the series. The story at the core of this follows Clyde, a warrior of noble birth who has his family taken from him. The land is ruled by warring factions and a Game of Thrones-esque tale of intrigue, power plays, and backstabbing ties it all together. It's the epitome of spectacle fighters with relatively deep RPG mechanics, so if you enjoy flashy attacks and cinematic brawls, then FFXVI should be on your list. Lies of P. Another Soul-like but with a classical twist, Lies of P takes the tale of Pinocchio and filters it through a lens of clockwork horror and elegance. Giant mechanoids prowl the streets, wild gangs burn and rule over what's left, and at the center of it all is P, a puppet created by Geppetto that's capable of advanced combat. Stuck in the plagued city of Krat, Pinocchio faces madness and terror around every corner as he tries to untangle the twisted web of secrets at the heart of the beleaguered burg. There's a variety of period and fantasy weaponry to unlock, powerful P organs to use, and a grim narrative keeping things tight outside of combat time. It's an interesting reimagining by Neowiz and one worth putting on your radar. There are plenty of amazing single-player games. but there are very few amazing single-player games that are literally free, then check out this video on left next up. Thanks for watching.